Hi guys, welcome back to Fit Life SD TV, where we are bringing you the science of nutrition and fitness. And today we're going to be launching our weightlifting and exercise safety series, where we're going to be going over proper equipment usage, proper technique, proper things to avoid an injury, proper ways to care for an injury as you're working through it. So we're going to outline several different things as we continue on with the series. But today what we're going to be working on is proper bench press safety, or how to prevent a deadly bench press accident. Now, it's been kind of buzzing that Larry Wheels was helping a gentleman bench press a certain amount of weight, and the spot failed and it fell on him. The good news is he was okay, he was able to get up, but there's a lot of times where I've seen accidents similar like this where it wasn't quite the same way. So what we're gonna be doing is showing you some things you could do where you don't have to have that anxiety that, am I gonna attempt such a big lift that I could possibly die or injure myself? So we're gonna go over a few simple things that if you implement, you could pretty much make sure that these things are never gonna happen or will be at a very minimum, okay? So just stay tuned and we'll walk you right through all the things that we're gonna show you.
Yeah. Straighten up. Yeah, don't slow down. Keep going. Yep. Back down. Don't rest too long. Yep, go. Yep, don't rest. Keep going. Yep.
Keep going, Mike. Keep going.
You okay?
All right, and that's what we're gonna stop from happening here. We don't ever want to have a situation where you feel like the weight is so heavy that if it falls on you, it's gonna be an accident. You should never be at the mercy of your training partner or your spotter. We've all seen the little demonstration. We have one person hold a dollar bill and the other person let it fall through the fingers, and I've never seen it once where someone's reaction time was quick enough to catch it. Such a small range of motion. That's why it's very imperative that, first off, no offense to Larry Wheels, but he should have been anticipating the accident and having his hand somewhere on the bar, because the time it takes to move your hands off the side rails or your waist to a falling bar is just too fast to be able to react. So that's the first thing. But as much as we appreciate having a spotter, if we use our equipment properly, it will not limit our range of motion, it will not hinder or impede our training, but it will keep us safe. So the first thing I like to point out is you want to use a system that has some kind of a safety guard. You can do a half rack. They have a style just like this, or if you go into a full squat rack, they have the bar that goes completely into the cage that'll keep the bar from crushing you. And if you use it wrong, it could feel like it's restrictive to your range of motion, but what we're going to demonstrate today is the right way to use this. So the first thing we're going to notice is underneath the bench, I put a couple of weights for spacers, because I want to be able to bring this as close to my chest as possible. And sometimes where the fittings are for the safeties versus how tall the bench are, it might not line up right. So you can do what you need to do to shimmy the space to bring it up if you need to. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So with the guards here, you want to have a proper arch in your back, okay? So when you bring the bar down, full range of motion, I can touch my chest, but I'm just about a millimeter away from the guards. So right there, I'm not losing any range of motion, but should it fall and hit me right here, I might get a slight bruise before it hits the guards. But what's even better is if you just relax your arch. The arch that you use to keep your shoulders back and give you power and keep your shoulders safe. If you feel like that bar is gonna collapse, you can just kind of relax, and then you can roll out from underneath it. No matter how heavy this bar is, it could be 500, 600 pounds, it is not gonna touch me, and I can roll out right from underneath it. So the next thing that you could do to make sure you don't have a bench press accident is have a good pair of wrist wraps. Now I know, yes, you might say, well, I'm not a power lifter and this is powerlifting gear and my wrists are strong enough. Okay, so the wrist wrap, when used properly, will protect your wrist joint, but it also does something more, and it's something you'll learn if you ever train with power lifters. You're actually supposed to put it on so tight around the joint that you actually somewhat cut off the circulation on your hand, which will force your hand to naturally stay closed. If you notice in the video, he didn't have any wrist wraps, which once you're bench pressing 350, 400, you really should be using wrist wraps. But you saw that his hand muscles kind of gave out at the end and it kind of just slipped out of his thumbs, okay? So if this is done right, I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. It should keep your hands locked in position. So what you're gonna do is, you really don't wanna have any kind of bracelet on because that'll just push into your arm, but just for demonstration, you wanna kind of grab it right here, have your fingers going across like that, have a little bit of a little turn in your wrist or a little slight bend, and keep it forced like that hard. You're gonna wrap over the joint. And if it starts to cut off the circulation a little bit, I know it sounds crazy, but that's okay because that's actually gonna help force your hand to stay closed. And if you put it on so tight that you really have a hard time with it, just remember, you just gotta get through the lift and you can take it off during your rest periods. But now if you look at it right here, just properly wrapped, it probably doesn't look the cleanest, but if I relax my hand, I can't open my thumb. It just becomes a natural way for it to be. So now when I hold the bar, it's gonna naturally help it to hold in position. So that's one more thing that we need to add if we're gonna be benching heavy, and we wanna make sure we don't have any accidents. So hopefully that gives you a good idea on what to do to stay safe for proper bench pressing. And we're gonna go over the 3 points again really quick. First, make sure that your spotter is engaged. They need to be anticipating something bad happening. They need to be expecting the unexpected. Okay, that's what they're there for. They're not there to just look good and daydream. Make sure that they don't have their hands on their waist. They have their hands on the bar, guiding it ready so that when something happens at a moment notice, they will be able to grab the bar. Point number 2, don't trust your spotter at all anyway. It's good to have them there, but you want to rely on the equipment, because if you set the equipment up right, the equipment doesn't think, it doesn't daydream, it's not gonna miss. The only way it can mess up is if you fail to set it up at the proper heights. And the third one is your wrist wraps. Make sure you have your wrist tightly wrapped, not just to protect the joint, but also to make sure you have a firm grip on the bar throughout the whole session. So you can take it off in between, if you're cutting off circulation in between sets, but anytime you're doing heavy, you want to wrap it up tight to help you keep that grip. So that should wrap up that one for us today. We'll have more coming to you on weightlifting safety, exercise safety. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and send us a DM if you need to. We'll have more for you next time.